Hi everyone, I'm Andrew Juskaitis from the Global Marketing Department at Giant, and today I'm here with my colleague, Brandon Zhuo. We're at the GST Wind Tunnel in southern Germany to introduce the all-new Propel range. Brandon, the first question I've got to ask you is what led us to come up with the new Propel range? What are the market environments? What's happening in racing that helped us develop this all-new bicycle?
The things we see on the racing trend, first one is faster. Nowadays, the Grand Tour, we see the racing speed is faster and faster, now generates over 45 km per hour. And the second is higher. The climbing distance and elevation is crazily high today. From the Grand Tour, the Tour de France to the Volta, we see the aero bike. And the third one is further. The riding distance for the aero bike is crazy. The Paris-Roubaix, you see most of them are racing the aero bike. So faster, higher, and further is the racing trend we see.
Oh, that's interesting. And so the demands of the racers have pushed us in the direction to create a product that can really meet the demands that they need to ride farther than they have before, to climb more than they have before, and to really ride faster than they ever have before. And so with that, Brandon, this is the fourth generation of Propel. Walk us through the previous three generations and what were the small iterations that happened to lead us to this fourth generation?
Sure. And as you can see that it is the fourth generation. And that every time when we have some of the updated evolution of the Propel, it has a very strong purpose behind that. So let's start from the first generation. The first generation, I think, starts from the 2013. At that time, we are kind of a breakthrough because that time we created an all new frame set, an all new shape for the aero bike. That time Propel comes up. And that time our thinking is very straightforward. Aero shipping. So in that time, we integrated the brake, the mini V brake. That time was the first generation. But then go to the second generation, we find out some big area to improvement is about the control. So the second generation, we integrated with disc brake and improve its aero shape. But it's not enough. So we go to the third generation, which is quite successful. The third generation, we improve its efficiency. So that is the Propel, we have the aero shaping, we have the high efficiency. Then we have such a solid foundation and move to the fourth generation. So the fourth generation, I have to say, we are very ambitious about the fourth generation. We want all on that generation.
Let's get into really what this fourth generation is all about. Walk us through really what did we attack when we came up with this fourth generation? What was most important to us?
Yes, I think it is a very sharp question. But for us, again, the proposition and the thinking behind this fourth generation for us is very clear. First one, as I mentioned, we want all. So we called it a total speed systems. So in the past, the three generations that we have, we always have a priority. The priority of the aero, priority of the weight efficiency, prioritize everything. But these generations, all the factors are equally important. Why I mentioned all the factors, including the aerodynamic, rolling resistance, weight, stiffness, and even compliance. All the things, all the performance factors are equally important for this bike. So that's why we call it total speed systems. In short, it is something we want to do. Racer, rider, everyone who rides this bike could squeeze their speeds as possible in all conditions.
So you're talking about that total speed system, and you mentioned no compromise a whole bunch of times. Let's get into actually what are the differeces with this fourth generation Propel.
Yes, to really go into this total speed systems, the other things one more layer that we added is system optimizations. So definitely the frame set is very, very important. So we push the limit of the frame set in all the performance factors, aero, lightweight, stiffness, compliance, that are all the things you know. But this time, all the componentry that you see on this bike, integrated board, the wheel system, the tires, all the things on this componentry on this bike push the limits. All the performance factors should be equal. This is a very ambitious goal. But one more ounce is that we invent a whole new system measurement way to really verify our performance gains no matter in the aero. That's why we are here in the GST, to verify the aero performance gains as a system. But also in our lab, we verified a system improvement by our own new approach, system measurement.
And so you're talking about that system measurement, obviously very important to really test how the bike performs, not only in the computerized version of it, but here in the wind tunnel as well. And what Brandon, I think you're going to talk about a little bit later is how does it perform out there in the real world under real riders. Let's talk to Xavier Giraud to walk us through the testing standards that we established here at the GST wind tunnel. Hey Xavier.
Hi Andrew.
Hey, how's it going here in the wind tunnel?
Fine, thanks.
Hey, help us understand when you come up with the concept of coming up with a new Propel, how does it come from really, your mind to the finished product here in the wind tunnel? Walk us through that process.
First, we make some design proposal that we launch on CFD, which is computational fluid dynamics. So it's a simulation of what would be the wind tunnel in a computer. So we save a lot of time by doing this, and then we compare the data from this CFD to bring final proposal to the wind tunnel to make the final choices over the complete bike setup.
And so I know you've probably run hundreds, maybe even thousands of CFD analysis in the computer to make sure that when you come here to the wind tunnel, you've got pretty much a finished product and you're ready to just make those small little detail changes here, right? Help me understand, and I know thankfully you've been involved with all 4 generations of Propel, and I think that's been about 15 years of your life doing that. Where have you seen the biggest improvements, the biggest opportunities for improvement throughout the 4 generations of Propel?
Besides the drag efficiency of the bike, which we've always improved, we've made big progress on the behavior of the bike with the 50 rim and the new tires. So especially on the 4th generation now, we have reduced the side wind effect, so crosswing effect of the rim. So the handling is a lot safer, and the bike is much easier to control.
Huh. That's interesting, and that is over 15 years. Obviously you've been able to prove the aerodynamic performance of the frame set itself, but also it sounds like with the componentry as well. I know time is money here in the wind tunnel, so I'm going to leave you alone, but thanks for your insight. So Brandon, walk us through some of the characteristics that we're testing for here at the GST wind tunnel.
Yeah, sure. I think the very, very important one for the, I would say, aero bike is that you need to be faster. So in this wind tunnel, we are testing and verify as a system improvement of the aerodynamic gains. So we go back to, I would say, the core of this bike is still the aero efficiency. So that's why we are here. We integrated all the pieces that we have, the componentry and the reference sets, and also integrated with new rider's position because something we changed it as well, and to verify how much performance gain we have on this Propel.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking about these aerodynamic qualities, and when we sat down to work on this project here, it wasn't just about the frame set, it wasn't just about the fork, it was the entire project itself. And we talk about the full system integration. We're talking about the tires, we're talking about the wheel system, we're talking about the integrated handlebar and the frame set and how they all work together to improve the aerodynamic qualities of the overall product, right?
Yes, aero for us is the most important one, the factors on this bike. But this generations, we expanded the concept. We are not creating the aero bike only. We call it total resistance. It is a combination of fully integrated aero shape with the rolling resistance. So let me start from the fully integrated aero shape. We start from the frame set. So the frame set wise, we optimize the shape from the crown of the fork, from the head tube, from the C-stay areas. We made the total frame set to help the airflows pass through the frame smoothly. But not only about that, the componentry that we have from the handlebar sections and the new shape and also integrated the wheel and also the spoke wise has been fully optimized. And one more on even the tire pattern has been fully optimized for the arrows. And so we combine all together be the fully integrated aero shape. And one more ounce is that, as I mentioned, not only about fully integrated aero shape, another is rolling resistance. So we kind of crazy optimize the rolling resistance from the tire for the whole Propel range. So the tire-wise is low frictions. So combine the two together, the aero, drag, and the rolling resistance, we save about 18.4 watts.
18 watts is a lot, Brandon. And so you're saying we were able to achieve that not only through obviously frame set design, the fork design, but certainly through the wheel system and primarily through the tire technology as well. Is that right?
Yes, these incredible numbers.
So Brandon, we just spent a bunch of time talking about the aerodynamic principles and qualities that make the fourth generation so much more aerodynamically overall efficient than the previous generation. When we're talking about efficiency though, normally when you're adding all these features, all the shaping, all the technologies, the tires, the wheel systems, the handlebars, all of that, those typically add weight to an overall product. Talk us through some of the weight advantage of this fourth generation over the third.
Yes, thanks Andrew. This is the most lightweight aero bike we ever made. And also the most efficient aero bike we ever made. Why we can achieve that? Just like you mentioned, sometimes the aero designs always need to compromise the stiffness over weight. But very fortunately, we are the maker, we are the king of composites. So for achieving this goal, there was a few things we did, very aggressive. First one, we reinvented the composite fibers and the resin formulas. Within our factories, in our headquarters, that we really have our proprietary resin formula and our high density of fibers. We use the all new unique fibers to manufacturing the bike, the frame set, and the field of componentry. And the second we made, remember that when we revamped the TCR, we used the integrated mold process. In that time, we only used the front triangle, but this time we use on the whole bike. It means the front triangle and the rear triangle and even the fork itself are made by the integrated mold.
So the integrated mold technology is something that we introduced 2 years ago with the latest edition of the TCR Advanced SL range. A single piece mold that creates a single triangle, which is much lighter than the previous generation. That was a multiple tube and multiple mold model. Saving weight up front was great. Sounds like we're able to do that not only with the front of the bike, but certainly the rear triangle as well and the fork as well. Overall saving weight, is that right?
Yes, totally. And because of the whole bike, front triangle, rear triangle, and the fork, all the integrated mold, so there's one more thing we can do is we have the cold blade cutting technology. We can use that machine to cut a longer, continuous fiber that we never cut. So that the more continuous on the older pieces, all the frame set section and the fork section, so we can save the weight layer and here. So in the end, what we create is the most lightweight aero bike frame set that we ever made. And also at the same time, it's also the most high stiffness aero frame set that we ever made.
And so Brandon, one of the hallmarks of all of our aerodynamic testing is we actually use a moving mannequin we call Grisha on top of all of the products that we test here in the wind tunnel. We met with Andy Wolney to walk us through some of that technology. Hey Andy, how's it going?
Hi Andrew.
Hey, this is Grisha 2.0, right? And I know you've been involved with our moving mannequin project all the way since its very inception, and we continue to work on moving mannequins with all of our products that we test here at the wind tunnel. Why do we continue to do it?
This is the best way to really simulate real riding position and environment. With fixed legs, you cannot cycle, and with only half body, you cannot cycle. So therefore, we are using the full body dummy, and we make sure that we always put the dummy in the same position on the bike.
Yeah. I think it's coming up almost on 15 years that we've been investing in this type of a technology here. I know it's a tremendous investment to do all this. Some of our competitors test their products without any sort of a mannequin. Some of them, like you mentioned, test with lower body. We continue to invest in a full body moving mannequin for all of our testing.
We have seen, when we compare with real rider, we have seen that these are the closest results to real life, and everything else is not really representing real life situation.
Yeah, so this is close to the outdoor world as we can get. And so what we're looking at here is Grisha, what we call Grisha 2.0. What is different about this particular mannequin than the previous generation?
The previous generation had a fixed upper body, so we couldn't change anything to the upper body. Now with all the different handlebar sizes or widths, we can move the shoulder. So depending on how wide the handlebar is, we move the shoulder to this width, and we can do it from 440 millimeter to 360 millimeter to have the influence of the shoulder width during riding, which we could not do with the old one. And also we can test helmets. We can also change the head angle when if we want to check different head positions during sprinting or during normal riding.
Right, so a lot more adjustability, variability, and an ability overall for Grisha 2.0 to adapt to some of the more modern standards as well.
Yeah.
So Andy, thanks. I don't want to bother you anymore. Get back to work here out of the GST wind tunnel here in southern Germany. Thank you. And so, Brandon, we talked about aerodynamics, we've talked about the efficiency of it, we've talked about the weight of the product as well. Really that fourth dimension, something we wanted to make sure and ensure not only for our professional racers, but for consumers who end up with this product as well, that it's comfortable to ride. Talk us through some of the comfort features on this bike that will allow riders to ride longer and stronger than they have before.
Yeah, sure. You know, in the past few months, we have connected with a lot of pro test riders all around the world. And their feedback are very consistent. They always talk, this is the best riding Propel they ever ride. I think that is because of the several of the key reasons. First one is always stay fresh. It means that we improve a lot of compliance on this bike from the front end to the rear end. Why we do that? Because we mentioned the riding distance is getting longer and further. So that on the front set wise, we use the new fiber, new resins, and the new leather on the seat post. So we improve its compliance of the rear end by the 25%. It's crazy. And the front end integrated designs of the handlebars, and we use our new layup, so we increase the vertical compliance by 50%. So you can image the riders from the first second till the last seconds, they always stay fresh. These are the first parts. But not only about that. The second is that we have a new geometry of the handlebars, so it can allow the rider always stay very high sport aero trunk position. So they can stay at the high efficient aero position longer and with the full sports. And why we have the GST here is that we research and study all the things about aerodynamic. And the research tells us the combination of our tire and the wheel, it provides a very consistent steering torque. In short, is in the crosswinds. These new combinations can provide a very, very predictable controls. It means in different yaw angle, the racer can always have a very good predictable handling. So they don't need to stay or they don't need to fight with wind. The only thing they need to do is just stay focused and then maintain their speed. So combine all the things together, that's why we say the racer can always stay very focused and just fully maintain their high speed.
And so that's interesting that fourth dimension really of comfort has always been in the slight DNA of Propel, but really in this fourth generation, we really focused on it. You're talking about a significantly more comfortable rear half of the bike via the integrated seat post. We're talking about the front end of the bike. We're talking about the handlebars as well, but you're also talking about the control of the product as well. in the sense that with the wheel systems and the tires, certainly here in the wind tunnel environment, have been tested at multiple yaw angles to make sure that the rider has overall consistent control of the front end of the bike. So you have a more comfortable bike. You also have a bike that's under control more under the rider itself. And so really those are the key differences that when we're talking about the 4th generation versus the 3rd generation, really the targets we wanted to hit and how we're able to achieve those targets. And so Brandon, we talked a lot about the technology that went into the frame set and the componentry itself that created the all-new 4th generation Propel. Let's talk to Nixon Wang, the category manager for Road, and have him talk us through some of the finer details. Hey Nixon, how's it going?
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, congratulations on 4 generations of Propel. I know you've worked on every single generation there is. 15 years of hard work on this. We've been talking about Propel Advanced SL. That's the high-end series of the entire range.
Yes.
But I also know we have Propel Advanced Pro and Propel Advanced. Price points that most people can afford. What would you say are some of the technologies and features that you are most proud of that trickle down to those other series?
You know what, Andrew, for this 4th generation, even the Advanced Pro already much better, superior than the previous Advanced SL. So the weight, stiffness, and also the aerodynamics are better than the previous generation.
Let me ask you this. I know, again, you've spent blood, sweat, and tears, I think 2 years on this project here. What are you most proud of in terms of technological advancement when it comes to Propel on this range?
As you know, we do this Propel with systematic approach. So not just the frame and fork, but also with the new integrated one-piece handlebar, along with the wheels and tires, that everything put together to make this generation a much better and superior than previous generation.
So it really is that complete package for sure. It's not just one thing, it's all things.
Everything.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure. Well, hey, thanks for your dedication on this one, and congrats on Generation 4 of Propel.
Thank you.
Brandon, we talked a lot about some of the technologies that have gone into here and even the manufacturing processes that have made the Generation 4 so great. When we sat down to create this new project, though, we really wanted to think about it from a rider-first perspective. And so we think about the 3 types of riding that not only the professional racer will experience, but the Saturday morning club rider will need out of a product like this. Let's talk about those 3 riding thoughts, processes that go into Generation 4 Propel.
Yes, definitely. Like we mentioned, the first one, the experience we want to give them is top-end speed. So it means that no matter what kind of racer you're elite level, pro level, or general riders, you can feel the fast immediately on the bike. Like I mentioned, the rolling resistance is getting huge improvement. So faster pedal, you feel it. And when you get the speed zones, then you can feel the benefit from the whole fully integrated the aero shape, so you can feel the faster immediately.
And so that's the top end speed, right?
Yes.
We're talking about that final sprint that is required to get you across the finish line in front of the other racers as well, right?
Yes. And then also another speed is instant speed. It is talking about, I want to use one of the riders' feedbacks as an example. They say, this Propel just like give you a wings. It means that they give you acceleration, just like explosive the accelerations. When you hit the pedal, it just go out, and it's so fast. Let's say the acceleration just crazy, and can help them to reach the high speed zone easily, never before.
So really that's that instant snap that when racers, when there's an attack move that's made and you need to counter that attack, you've got that initial snap so that when you go, the bike goes as well, right?
Yeah.
And so what's the 3rd dimension of riding that we thought about when creating this fourth generation?
Is the sustained speed. Is that because the bike we're talking about the compliance and also overall control. So the bike can help the racer to always saving their energy during their high-speed zone sessions. So they can maintain and saving their power till the last moment, the final sprinting moment. So, and also it can sustain their high speed as possible as it could.
And so those are for those long breakaways, that 100-kilometer breakaway where a rider's going to be down in the drops, putting down maximum watts for an hour, possibly 2 hours, making sure that the Propel has the comfort and the positioning to enable a rider to ride really what we talk about, which is longer and stronger than they have before on Generation 3.
Yes, I think it is the aero bike sacrifice nothing.
So Brandon, thanks for walking us through all the qualities of the 4th generation Propel. We talked about the aerodynamic capability, we talked about the reduced weight, improved stiffness, really overall efficiency of the product has improved. We even talked about comfort and control, how all of those qualities were targeted and achieved with the all-new 4th generation Propel, what we call ultimate speed.